description of the meeting between Mahaprabhu and Rupa and Sanatan, who at that time are Sakar Malik and what is the other? Sakar Malik and I can't remember the other name right now. But I want to backtrack a little bit. So this is when Mahaprabhu, he decides to go to Vrindavan. This is the first time. He's settled in Puri as his base, and he decides to go to Vrindavan, and he plans to go directly. But then when he gets to Ram Kelly, which nowadays, what is the name of Ram Kelly? There's another name for it now, but it's not far from, not so far from Navadvip. And I think that was kind of like where the headquarters of the Muslim government was. So this, the ruler, Dabir Kash, right? What is his name? Dabir Kash. He's based there. And so Rupa and Sanatan, of course, they have their ministers in his government, so they are also based there, as I recall. And anyhow, Mahaprabhu goes this route to Vrindavan, then he reaches Ram Kelly, and he spends a night there on his way, but he has this secret meeting with Rupa and Sanatan, and this may be the first time that they're meeting him in person. They've exchanged letters with him, but I think it's the first time they're meeting him in person, so it's quite a significant meeting. And they're coming to meet him, but also Sanatan wants to warn Mahaprabhu a little bit, because the king, because Mahaprabhu, what happens is, on his way, there's this huge, oh, that's right, I'm remembering now, because first he went to Bengal. Mahaprabhu kind of did a roundabout route to Vrindavan, because he wanted to stop in Bengal first to see, he mentions, I think it's in Chaitanya Bhagavat, his two mothers, the river Ganges as one mother and Mother Ch.Ch as another mother. He makes a comment like that. And so he goes through Navadvip, and he especially stops in the area of Kuliya Gram, where our mat is, and extends a very great degree of mercy to the people. And then so he goes like through Navadvip, and then he goes from Puri to Navadvip, and then from Navadvip he starts going towards Vrindavan, and then he hits the border of Bengal, Ram Kelly. I think it's like in the border area. But then, by then, because Mahaprabhu's gone this roundabout route, he has this big following of people who are behind him. They all want to come with him to Vrindavan. So it's like quite an impressive scene, and so he's bringing a lot of attention to himself, and so the Muslim king, what is his name? I can't remember. My brain is not working properly. No, here it is. Nawab Hussain Shah. That was the king. Nawab Hussain Shah Bada Saha. I haven't heard that one before. This king is like, oh, who is this man? And he's asking his ministers, and Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they try to brush it aside. Oh, don't give any attention to him, nothing important. But they're worried. And at the time, the king, he seems favorable, but they're a little worried, this could lead to problems for Mahaprabhu. The king could become envious, or the king could begin to feel that he's being threatened in some way. So partly they want to advise him, better you don't, be careful, and better you don't go to Vrindavan like this right now. So they come to meet with Mahaprabhu in this secret meeting in the middle of the night. Dabir Kas, that was the name of Rupa Goswami. Sakar Malik was Sanatan, Dabir Kas was Rupa Goswami. So they have, so here's a description, they're trying to pacify the king. Okay, so we can start from here. Yes, and Rupa Goswami is telling him, he's a great prophet, and he's on your side. He desires your good fortune. By his grace, all your business is successful. By his blessings, you will attain victory everywhere. And he tells him, and he also tells him, he tells him like he is the Hindu supreme God, and then he also tells him that, he's like flattering him. Rupa Goswami tells the king, "No, but why are you asking me? Better you ask your own mind, because you are the king. You are the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Because there's this Vedic idea that the ruler, has some empowerment from the Lord, and so they're representing the Lord in some way. So Rupa Goswami is telling him this, actually, you should ask, why are you asking me? You should ask yourself. You're the representative of God, so you can know better than me. And then the king said, yes, I consider this Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this prophet, to be the Supreme Lord. And he's seeming favorable, but, they have to be, you never know. The next day he could be in another mood, so they're a little, Rupa and Sanatan are a little concerned. Okay, so then we'll pick up from here. Jai Shri Gurudev. Etoko hi rajya gela nija byantade tobe dabir kasaila apana gore. After having this conversation with Rupa Goswami, the king entered his private house. Rupa Goswami, then known as Dabir Kas, also returned to his residence. Koreasi duibai jukati korea, Prabhu deki bare chole vesh lukaya. After returning to his residence, Dabir Kas and his brother decided after much consideration to go see the Lord incognito, so undercover, in a hiding way. Ardarache duibai aila Prabhu stane, pratame milila nityananda hari lasane. Thus in the dead of night, the two brothers, Dabir Kas and Sakar Malik, went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu incognito. First they met Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. Taradui janjanaila Prabhu gochade, Rupa Sakar Malikaila Tomade Kibade. Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that two personalities, Sri Rupa and Sanatan, had come to see him. Dui gucha china duhe dashane dodia, kolevasta bandi pade dandavata hoya. In great humility, both brothers took bunches of straw between their teeth, and each binding a cloth around his neck, fell down like rods before the Lord. Doinya rodan kore anande vival, Prabhu kohe utta utta hoilo mangal. Upon seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the two brothers were overwhelmed with joy, and out of humility they began to cry. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked them to get up and assured them of all good fortune. Utti dui bai tobe dante trina dori, doinya kori stuti kore karayo da kori. The two brothers got up, and again taking straw between their teeth, they humbly offered their prayers with folded hands. Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Doyamoy Patit Pavan Jai Jai Mahashoy. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most merciful savior of the fallen souls. All glories to the Supreme Personality. Nicha Jati Nicha Sangi Kori Nicha Kaj Tomagrete Prabhu Kahite Vosilaj. Sir, we belong to the lowest class of men, and our associates and employment are also of the lowest type. Therefore, we cannot introduce ourselves to you. We feel very much ashamed standing here before you. So, here, thank you. This statement, they're saying that our birth is low, our association is low, our work is low. And actually Rupa and Sanatan, they came from very high class, Brahmin background. But because of their association with this Muslim government, which was, actually quite, what's the word? India was under Muslim rule for quite some time. I'm not a historian, I can't say how long, but it was quite some time, and there were different rulers during that period, and some of them were more respectful and friendly, like there was that one Akbar who we hear about, who was very respectful, and he actually had a Hindu princess. But then there were others who were very, not just disrespectful, but they were attack. They were in a mood of attack and towards the Hindus. And this Nawab Hussain Shah in particular, he destroyed many Hindu temples. So, from any perspective, this was not something to be considered respectable. That they were associated, they were working under him. No doubt they didn't have much choice. They were recruited by him, and he would have made their lives very difficult if they didn't go along with it, because they were so brilliant. So he wanted them in his government. So anyhow, because of the prejudice of the time, they were disregarded. They were considered outcasts by the respectable Hindu society. Of course, Mahaprabhu, that was not his mood, but that was like the general prejudice that people had. So they say here, Ch.Ch Sangi are they're coming from Mahaprabhu, presenting themselves in this very humble way, and we can understand Ch.Ch Sangi, our association is very low. Ch.Ch Kaj, our work is very low. But then he also says Ch.Ch Jati, which is like referring to his birth, to their birth, and then that is a little puzzling, actually, like how can they say that? And I've heard both Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Gurudev comment on this, and I think it's also partly like a cultural thing, because for Indians normally the family is considered worshipable, but here they're like saying, like, not only are we low, but our family is low. So it like what I remember how Srila Sridhar Maharaj described it is that this level of humility is unprecedented. Like for an Indian to denounce their family, that's like a really unusual thing, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj commented like we can't find this kind of humility, like in this kind of expression of humility in any of we don't see this anywhere else, This is a very, unprecedented thing, So, and in what way, they are conceiving of this, I don't want to speculate, but this is their humility, not only am I low, but my family is also low. It's this meeting between. This is a very significant meeting between. This is the first meeting of Mahaprabhu with Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, and they come in the middle of the night to meet him, and they present themselves in this extremely humble way. And there's several verses here in particular which are very, heart-touching. Prabhu, while you're up, can you pass me a copy of Sri Guru and His Grace? Now this next verse is very famous. Thank you, Prabhu. And I wanted to, because there's a place here where Srila Sridhar Maharaj discusses this verse, this next one that we're coming to, if I can just remember. I think it's in the end. Here it is. So there's several very heart-touching verses here in this meeting, and so this is the next one. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj has also included this in Prapana Jivanamrita, in the section on humility, and it's an expression of extreme humility. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj also discusses that verse here. And there's this line here where Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, we should not be ashamed to express our negative characteristic. Because there tends to be a kind of stigma, like you have, like we have this expression, keeping up appearances, right? Like everything has to be really polished, like you're presenting yourself in this like polished way to society. But here it's like, no, it's okay. Like, you can be imperfect. Don't be ashamed. And not only that, but in your approach towards divinity, that will help you. It's not something to be afraid of or ashamed of. Okay, well, I'll read the verse here first, and we can discuss it a little more. Matulyo nasti papatma na paradi cha kaschana parihare pilaja me kim bruve purushottama. Dear Lord, let us inform you that no one is more sinful than us, nor is there any offender like us. Even if we wanted to mention our sinful activities, we would immediately become ashamed. And what to speak of giving them up? Matulyo nasti papatma. You won't find anyone more sinful than I. Naparadi cha kaschana. You also won't find anyone who is more offensive than I. Parihare pilaja me. I'm even ashamed to come in front of you, to tell you this, to ask for your forgiveness, that, I'm ashamed even to do that because it's that bad, Kim bruve purushottama, what can I say, my Lord? And this is the feeling of Rupa and Sanatana, who are like the head of Mahaprabhu's line. This is their feeling of humility. I'm going to read here from this section. Department of mercy. We, the finite, should approach the infinite with this spirit. If justice is applied, I have no hope. I omit that department. I have come only to seek my fortune in the department of mercy, where there is no calculation of right or wrong, of merit or demerit. I have come to that department, my Lord, because I do not know what is within me. When I analyze and study my own heart, I find that I am unknown to my own self. I am so helpless and wretched that I don't even know myself. How then should I venture to appeal to a department where something will be granted only after a calculation of my merits and demerits? I don't want that. I don't want any decision based on justice. I surrender. You may do whatever you like with me. I am the worst of sinners. What to do with me now is in your hands. You, Savior, I have come to you. If there is any possibility, save me. This is my open appeal, my one-sided appeal. This sort of self-abnegation will automatically cleanse our hearts. By this attitude of sharanagati or surrender, we invite the greatest attention from above. Sharanagati, surrender, is the only way to be reinstated in our lost prospect. At present, we are disconnected from the prospect of divine love, which we cherish in the innermost quarter of our hearts. If we want to have that privilege very easily and very quickly, we must approach the Lord with plain speaking and with a naked body and mind, with everything exposed. Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has written, Mattulyo nasti papatma naparadi chakaschana padiharepi lajame kimbruve purushottama. My Lord, I feel ashamed. How shall I offer you so many pure things like flowers? Generally, pure things are offered to you, but what about me? I have come with the most filthy thing to offer to you. I feel ashamed. I have come to you with only my shame to beg for your mercy. My Lord, I feel ashamed. How shall I offer you so many pure things like flowers? Generally, pure things are offered to you, but what about me? I have come with the most filthy thing to offer to you. I feel ashamed. I have come to you with only my shame to beg for your mercy. There is no parallel to my sinful life, criminal life. Everything that can be conceived of as bad is found in me. It is very difficult even to speak about the characteristics of my heinous sins and crimes. Still, your nature, existence, fame, and benevolence cannot but attract me. You can save me, you can purify me. Hoping against hope, I have come to you. And I have only one solace, that I am the real object of your mercy. Your tendency is to purify the meanest. Those who are the most needy have some claim to your mercy. I am the worst of the needy and the meanest of the mean. This is my only qualification, my only hope, to attract your attention and appeal to your magnanimity. Very powerful expression. Okay. Patit pavan hetu tomar avatar, ama boy jagate patit nahiyar. The two brothers submitted, Dear Lord, you have incarnated to deliver the fallen souls. You should consider that in this world there is none so fallen as us. Jagai madai dui kudile udhar, Tahaundanitesham nahilo tomar. You have delivered the two brothers, Jagai and Madai. But to deliver them, you did not have to exert yourself very much. Brahmanjati tada navadipe gur, nicha seva nahi kode nahe niche kurpar. The brothers Jagai and Madai belonged to the Brahmin caste, and their residence was in the holy place of Navadip. They never served low-class persons, nor were they instruments to abominable activities. Sobek doshtar hoi papachar, paparashi dohe namabase tomar. Jagai and Madai had but one fault. They were addicted to sinful activity. However, volumes of sinful activity can be burned to ashes by a dim reflection of the chanting of your holy name. Tomar nam loya tomar korilo nindan, se nam hoilo tar muktir karan. Jagai and Madai uttered your holy name by way of blaspheming you. Fortunately, that holy name became the cause of their deliverance. Jagai Madai hoite koti koti gun, Adam patit papi amidu ijaded, fallen and sinful than them. Mlecha jati, mlecha sevi, kori mlecha karma, go brahman johi sangyama sangama. Actually, we belong to the caste of meat eaters because we are servants of meat eaters. Indeed, our activities are exactly like those of the meat eaters. Because we always associate with such persons, we are inimical toward the cows and Brahmins. More karma, more hate, golai bandiya, govishai vishtagarte diachi felia telaya. The two brothers, Sakar Malik and Dabir Kas, very humbly submitted that due to their abominable activities, they were now bound by the neck and hands and had been thrown into a ditch filled with abominable, stool-like objects of material sense enjoyment. Amodadite boli nahi chibu vane, patit pavan tumi sobeto mavine. No one within the three worlds is sufficiently powerful to deliver us. You are the only savior of the fallen souls. Therefore, there is no one but you. You are the only savior of the fallen souls. Therefore, there is no one but you. Amaudadiya jadi deka nija bol, patit pavanam tobe se safal. If you simply deliver us by your transcendental strength, then certainly your name will be known as Patit Pavam, the savior of the fallen souls. Satyek bat kaho shuno doya moy, movinu doya patra jagate nahoy. Let us speak one word that is very true. Plainly hear us, O merciful one. There is no other object of mercy within the three worlds but us. Ore doya kori koro swadoy safal, akila barmanda dekuk tomadoya vol. We are the most fallen. Therefore, by showing us your mercy is most successful. Let the power of your mercy be exhibited throughout the entire universe. So, in Subjective Evolution of Consciousness, there's this very wonderful comment of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, where he says that we have to prove to the Lord that we are the most needy. Because his nature is merciful to all, but how can we especially draw that grace, in a very concentrated way? Then we have to, it's not that we're going to make progress on the basis of our qualification. Here's our resume, here are all the things that we've achieved, these are all the things that we've done. This is why we're the number one candidate. That's the opposite way. to attract that mercy, because it's mercy is grace. So that the premise of that is that you don't deserve it. So we have to prove that we really need it because we're the most undeserving. And so here, this whole beautiful exchange between Rup, Sanatana, and Mahaprabhu, it's a wonderful example of that. How they're really like seriously trying to prove to the Lord, like, we are really fallen, like we really need your special attention. We really need your special mercy. So they're saying, your mercy will really be successful if you give it to us. Like, if you can deliver us, the most fallen people, then the glory of your mercy will really be known. We're not just your average sinful person. We're like really sinful. We're really fallen. So if you can get us, then wow, then that's a really glorious thing, Let the power of your mercy be exhibited throughout the entire universe. And now there's a quotation from Jamuna Charja. Namrisha paramartam eva me shinu vigyapanam ekam agrata jadimena dayisyase tada dayaniyasthavanata dorlaba. Let us submit one piece of information before you, dear Lord. It is not at all false, but is full of meaning. It is this: if you are not merciful upon us, then it will be very, very difficult to find more suitable candidates for your mercy. And now this verse is very wonderful. Apane jogjadeki mane paokob tatapi toma gune upajaya lob. We are very depressed at being unfit candidates for your mercy. Yet since we have heard of your transcendental qualities, we are very much attracted to you. Very wonderful expression. This is the real devotional mood, that we are so unqualified, we're not even fit to come before you. We're not fit to come to you, to present ourselves in front of you and to ask for your connection. Like, we don't deserve that. But at the same time, we have heard about how wonderful you are, how great you are, and so we cannot help ourselves. You're irresistible. Your beauty and your qualities and your divine nature is so irresistibly attractive that we cannot help ourselves. We are drawn to you. We cannot do otherwise, even though we feel we are unfit, utterly unfit for any connection with you. This is really the real mood. That everything that we're doing in our devotional life, we should, the services, everything, practices, the chanting, everything, we should feel that this is such a high thing. It's actually beyond me. Everything, the cleaning of the temple, the puja, the cooking, everything, we should feel, not like, oh, this is some burden that I have to bear, but actually this seva is superior to me. This seva actually is the seva of Srimati Radharani. And it is a privilege to be able to engage in such seva. And actually I'm not worthy of doing it, but at the same time I'm so desperate, and you are so wonderful, the Lord and the Vaishnavas, they are so attractive and so wonderful, we can't help ourselves. We have to come forward, we have to make our approach, we have to engage in some service connection. This is the real devotional mood. Ch.Ch. And this verse we've heard Gurudev and Srila Sridhar Maharaj also quote. Very, very wonderful verse. And we're not even fit to be seen by you. However, you're so attractive, your qualities are so outstanding, we cannot help ourselves, we must come before you. Vamanjaiche chandorite chahe kore, taiche vanshamor uttaye antare. Indeed, we are like a dwarf who wants to capture the moon. Although we are completely unfit, a desire to receive your mercy is awakening within our minds. Bhavan, this is a beautiful verse. This is also Jamuna Charja. Very nice verse. Srila Gurudeva, he also liked this verse very much. Bhavantam evanu charan nirantara prashanta nishesha manoratantara kadaham aikantika nitya kinkara praharsha yishyami sanata jivitam. By serving you constantly, one is freed from all material desires and is completely pacified. When shall I engage as your permanent eternal servant and always feel joyful to have such a fitting master? This translation is, there's one of Sagar Maharaj in Prapana Jivanamrita. It's a little more poetic, but very beautiful. That a prayer to the Lord, saying, when will that day come when I'm so deeply engaged in your divine service that all of my desires, selfish desires, they'll be pacified because they'll be consumed in your service connection. And there's this nice expression, which you see in a few different places, Manorat, means the chariot of the mind. The mind is like this chariot that takes you all over the place. Creates this like agitation. Taking you here and there and everywhere. And so, when will that chariot of my mind, become pacified, being consumed in your divine service? When will I awaken, in this life of divine service to you? And in the course of that, this chariot of my mind will be pacified. And that exclusive, Aikantika Nitya Kinkara, an exclusive eternal servitor. And that will be most joyful. Shuni Mahaprabhu kohe shuno dabir kas, tumi dui bhai mor puratanandas. After hearing the prayer of Dabir Kas and Sakar Malik, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my dear Dabir Kas, you two brothers are my old servants. Pachi hoite duharnam rupa sanatan, doinya chara tomar doinye fate moharman. My dear Sakar Malik, from this day your names will be changed to Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatan. Now please abandon your humility, for my heart is breaking to see you so humble. Their humility is so extreme, it's like painful to see that, It's painful to see. Sometimes with Srila Gurudev, we would experience that. Srila Gurudev would express himself and with such, like real humility, and extreme humility that it was, you want to cover your ears. You don't want to hear this. How you're of such a high, such high stature, such an exalted Vaishnav, and to see him, to hear him expressing himself, it is painful for the heart to hear that. So Mahaprabhu is telling them, please stop, no more. Doinya patri likki more patale bar bar, Se patri dvarajani tomar vyavahar. You have written several letters showing your humility. I can understand your behavior from those letters. And this point about humility, that I was just reading this nice article where Srila Sridhar Maharaj was talking about, there was this incident where there was this debate, there was a public debate going on between these two Indian scholars in Madras, which is now, I don't remember, what is Madras called nowadays? I don't remember. Maybe it's Bombay, I'm not sure, or Mumbai, they call it. But anyhow, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj was appointed to, they wanted like a Gaudiya Math person to be like the mediator, like you call it the mediator, do you? Like if there's two opposing sides and the person who's like overseeing it. So they wanted someone from the Gaudiya, like a neutral person from the Gaudiya Math. And of course Srila Sridhar Maharaj was renowned for his scholarship, his brilliance, so he was requested. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj gave some introduction, and it was a very interesting, the whole thing was a very interesting event, but we can discuss that another time. But this point about humility I wanted to mention, because Srila Sridhar Maharaj emphasized that when he was recounting the event, how Srila Sridhar Maharaj spoke something about Mahaprabhu's teaching of humility, and then one of these scholars later, when he spoke something, expressed some appreciation for what Srila Sridhar Maharaj had said, but then he also made a comment like, actually this kind, we can appreciate this humility, but it's not really necessary. And he made a comment like, if we are thinking we're so low and we're so insignificant, then how can we achieve anything great? How can we move towards something great if we are thinking that we are so insignificant? Then we can't achieve any greatness in life. He made some comment like that. And then later, at the conclusion of the debate, Srila Sridhar Maharaj had an opportunity to say something again, and so then he countered that comment, saying that actually it's a very logical thing, that the more you're connected to something great, the more you will correspondingly feel yourself to be small. As Srila Sridhar Maharaj in another place, he defines humility as the outcome of proximity to greatness. It's an automatic feeling that will come. Real humility, it's not something that you have to artificially induce. But if you're actually connected, if you're within the relativity of something great, something big, then naturally, automatically, you will feel yourself to be inferior. So that's how we can understand these statements. It's not that they're arbitrarily, presenting themselves in this way. Like, oh, this is a clever scheme, to attract the attention of the Lord. Of course, we can also appreciate that to some extent, but that's not where this is coming from. This is the real outcome of persons who are deeply immersed within Krishna consciousness, humility. So Krishna consciousness is really measured in the inverse, Srila Sridhar Maharaj has commented. The more that you have it, the more you feel you don't have it. Because you're in connection with the real thing and you see how great it is and how infinite it is. And no matter how far you've come, and you may also look back and see, that is also recommended, to try to assess how far you are along the path. But the thing is, no matter how far you've gone, you'll see that in front of you, that horizon is always extending. So we should feel that, okay, I've made some progress. We can take stock, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj says. But at the same time, we will feel we're nowhere because there's so much further to go. It's an infinite horizon. So, we can understand by these kind of expressions that these are very exalted Vaishnavas. Okay, so they've had, so Mahaprabhu was mentioning, I can see your mood of humility, this is painful, please stop. And we had some exchange through letters, and I could see your humility at that time. And now he's mentioning, because in one of their letters they asked him, they've requested that they wanted to leave their worldly life. They wanted to leave their work in the government and just stay with Mahaprabhu permanently. But it wasn't the right time for that to happen. And so Mahaprabhu, he told them in this very cryptic way that they needed to continue in their duties for some time. And he's telling his answer here. Tomar hridoyami janipatri dvade, tomar shikaite shlok patai lo tomade. By your letters I could understand your heart. Therefore, in order to teach you, I sent you one verse which reads as follows. So this is the verse that Mahaprabhu sent to them in reply to their request to leave their government duties and stay with him. Paravyasa nini nadi vyagrapi griha karmasu tade vasvadayatyantar nava sangha rasayanam. If a woman is attached to a man other than her husband, she will appear very busy in carrying out her household affairs. But within her heart, she is always relishing feelings of association with her paramour. So he's telling them that, Krishna consciousness is an internal cultivation. So you can conceive of it as a paramour lover. Like in your heart, like this is what you're really relishing, this is what you're really thinking about, But on a surface level, you have all these duties as a married woman, and you have to take care of those. And you'll actually do those affairs even better. You'll do those, household affairs even better because you don't want your husband to suspect anything. But in your heart, you're relishing that connection of the heart, your real love. So, continue with your duties for now, but in your heart you can, hold on to this. And this is a very helpful instruction for all devotees, who have that kind of lifestyle. And Srila Gurudev, he gave that advice. There's a recording of Bimala, actually, Bimala Didi from San Jose. And this is like 1989, it's very early, when she was like first coming in connection with the devotees and first came to India. And she asked Gurudev that question, I have to go out, and she was still working at that time in Brazil. And how can I harmonize these two things? I want to be with the devotees, but I have duties with work and family. And he gave, Srila Gurudev, he quoted this verse to her, and he gave this answer. And Srila Sridhar, she would also reference this verse, in advising the devotees. It's a very, very helpful conception. And it's significant because Mahaprabhu, he gave this same advice, in essence, he gave the same advice to Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was in a similar situation where he wanted to leave his family entanglements, worldly entanglements. And Mahaprabhu told him, that, you will cross over the material world in a gradual way. Don't rush. Don't be too quick to jump over everything. It'll happen in a gradual way. So for now, calm down, take care of your family affairs, and when the proper time comes, then you can leave everything. But for now, continue that cultivation in an internal way. So we see, at least in these two occasions, Mahaprabhu gives this same advice. And we can understand, of course, they're pure devotees, so these things don't apply to them. But in the case of the rest of us, like approaching in that kind of way, it will give a very strong foundation. Because you understand it's an internal cultivation. Because especially when we're very new, we can equate progress with some external attainment or an external environment. Now I'm living in the temple, or now I'm wearing the saffron cloth, or whatever it may be. I'm worshiping the deity. Now I'm a pure devotee. It doesn't work like that. And then because your faith is not so strong, then you won't be able to maintain that level of focused service. So then you, more likely than not, you'll leave after some time. But when you're moving in this gradual way and developing substantially in an internal sense, then you're in a much stronger position. Godanikata site nahi mor prayojan, tomaduha dekite mor ihawagaman. I really had no business in coming to Bengal, but I've come just to see you two brothers. Hemor mane kata keo nahi jane, sobe bole kene aila rama keli grame. Everyone is asking why I've come to this village of Ram Kelly. No one knows my intentions. And indeed, it must have appeared kind of odd because Ram Kelly was like the headquarters of this Muslim king. Like, why would you go there? This aggressive Muslim ruler, who's anti-Hindu. Then why would you go there? It would seem a little puzzling, So Mahaprabhu really came there to see them. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he mentions that in Srila Sridhar Maharaj has this beautiful composition and glorification of Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, and he mentions there that on the pretext, and then it's also interesting, Mahaprabhu doesn't even go to Vrindavan in the end, because that was the whole supposed reason for him being there. He was on his way to Vrindavan, but then he doesn't even go to Vrindavan. Actually, it's right, I have it in here. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, on the pretext of going to Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu went to Ram Kelly to see his eternal servants. It's a really beautiful composition. Here it is. It's in the first verse. Srila Rupa Goswami is the mine of the most precious treasure, the leader of the associates of Lord Chaitanya, the divine succession being known as the Rupa Nuga Sampradaya, the followers of Sri Rupa. In the company of his brothers, he was resplendent in the province of Gauda, causing the fervent twin bumblebees in the form of the lotus eyes of Sri Chaitanya Dev to drink nectar, as the Lord's lotus feet moved on the pretext of visiting Vrindavan. When will that Srimad Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy feet? This is the next verse. At Sri Ram Kelly Dham, the king Malda, I think it's called Malda. It's a couple hours away from Navadvip, where they met. Ram Kelly, now I think it's called Malda. When we take the train, you'll see that we don't pass by it. It's going in another direction, but it's not so far. Maybe it's like 2 or 3 hours from Navadvip. Maybe 4 hours. At Sri Ram Keli Dham, the king of bees, the heart of Sri Rupa, became intoxicated drinking the honey wine of the lotus feet of Sri Gaur Chandra, and sacrificed its life and Hari Kirtan for the benefit of all the people of the world, summarily abandoning a life of kingly opulence. After informing his elder brother Sri Sanatan, Sri Rupa and his younger brother Sri Vallabha followed the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Dev, whose heart was absorbed in going from Nilachal to Sri Vrindavan. When will that Sri Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy lotus feet? Sri Chaitanya Dev returned from Vrindavan to Prayag Dham and performed Nam Sankirtan, surrounded by crowds of hundreds of thousands, intoxicated with divine love, dancing. He melted the hearts of hundreds of faithful souls with his astonishing transcendental ecstasies. Sri Rupa, as though regaining his most precious treasure, thus found Sri Chaitanya Dev in the direct presence of the deity Sri Bindu Madhava. When will that Sri Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy lotus feet? Because then later, Mahaprabhu gave personal instruction to Rupa Goswami for 10 days in Prayag. And so, like one-on-one personal instruction for 10 days. And so this is describing a very beautiful description of their meeting, that Mahaprabhu is performing this ecstatic kirtan in front of this deity. I think it's a Vishnu deity called Bindu Madhava. And Mahaprabhu's chanting and dancing is so extraordinary, so divine. Then hundreds and thousands of people are surrounding him as he's performing this ecstatic kirtan, showing so many symptoms of ecstasy. And then Rupa Goswami comes upon the scene and sees, the Lord of his life, wow, like this. So beautiful. At the sacred spot of on the confluence of the Ganga and the Jamuna, Sri Rupa achieved intimate union with the lotus feet of the dearmost Lord of his life, the Lord who is Krishna within and Gaur without. In grave humility, with straw in mouth and with tears of sorrow, he, along with his younger brother, that's Anupam, worshipped Sri Gaur Krishna in intense love. When will that Sri Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy lotus feet? Sri Chaitanya Dev saw Sri Rupa and his younger brother. There are 3 brothers, Rup, Sanatan, Anupam. Sri Chaitanya Dev saw Sri Rupa and his younger brother rolling on the ground some distance away. Seeing his endeared one, his favorite, his love divine personified in natural beauty and charm, his exclusive alter ego in divine pastimes, the Lord swiftly approached Sri Rupa, profusely singing his glories, and embraced him in ecstasy. When will that Sri Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his holy lotus feet? Sri Gaur Hari knew that as an eternal associate of the Lord, Sri Rupa was already proficient in wandering throughout the ambrosial ocean of all mellows in the land of unalloyed love in Braja Ras. Nonetheless, to expand his own pastimes, the Lord enabled him to drink the sweet ecstasy of servitude unto Sri Radha, and empowered him with the skill to distribute the nectar of his personal devotional service. When will that Srimad Rupa Prabhu grace me with the dust of his lotus feet? Okay, I'll stop there. Very beautiful verses. Jai Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. And today's also the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj. They'll be having a big celebration in SoCal. And it's a happy opportunity for us all to remember, to think of Janardhan Maharaj, his glories, and how he has helped us, helped us all. We all have our Janardhan Maharaj stories. And it's such a glorious Vaishnava, really. Yeah, full faith in our Gurudev. That's one of the things that's probably the thing that I appreciate the most about Janardhan Maharaj, his absolute faith in our Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. Because he, in his previous society, he had a very high position. He had many disciples, he had many temples, he had a very cushy position, and he left everything, to take shelter of our Gurudev and our Param Gurudev. And and to have nothing, he went to Navadvip, with nothing, to take shelter of them. And he, and Janardhan Maharaj will always say that Srila Govinda Maharaj is my guru. That he has zero ego about, being like in a god brother position, to our Gurudev, because he's a disciple of Srila. He's a sannyas disciple of Srila Swami Maharaj Prabhupada. And then, and he had like a close relationship with Srila Swami. They had personal exchange, and he was very much appreciated by Srila Swami Maharaj. And then he came to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he also had a relationship with Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And, Srila Sridhar Maharaj gave him, that sannyas name, Bhakti Pavan Janardhan. And so he had relationship with them also, with these great guardians also, but he really feels his deepest connection with our Gurudev, and he has such deep faith in our Guru, and he'll say, I'm a disciple of. And one of his proudest moments is when Janardhan Maharaj tells of how they were in Vrindavan, and Srila Gurudev, he said something like, now I'm in Vrindavan, I have to do some austerities, because Vrindavan is a place to be very careful and strict in your conduct, because it is such a high place. So Gurudev made this humble expression, now I'm in Vrindavan, I have to do some austerity. And Janardhan Maharaj was there, and he said, he said something like, you're such a great Vaishnava, you can purify the holy places, you don't need to do any austerities, And then Gurudev dismissed him, saying, you say that because you are a disciple, And that's one of Janardhan Maharaj's proudest moments. Like Srila Gurudev had that type of intimacy with him, even though he was this big guru and then he's not literally his disciple. Still Gurudev could talk to him like that, you say that because you're a disciple, And he also told one time, because Srila Gurudev had some children, I think he had 2 or 3 daughters, and there was one discussion with some visitor, and they asked Gurudev if he had any sons, or something like that. And Gurudev said, no, I don't have a son, but if I had one, I would like one like him. And he pointed to Janardhan Maharaj. I think it might have been in Bengali, their discussion.
And once he said, I don't have any doubt about your holidays, told to him.
Yeah, he described Janardhan Maharaj on several occasions as having a pure heart. On several occasions he commented on that. So, we're very fortunate to have, Vaishnava of that caliber, still amongst us and giving shelter. He's very authentic, I also really appreciate that about Janardhan Maharaj. He doesn't make any show, Sometimes that could make life a little difficult. He's very direct, very frank, and the consequences, they can come, let them come. And he's very real, very just on the ground and direct and open about his opinion. So we appreciate that very much. And also his sense of humor. His sense of humor is very, like a breath of fresh air often, Yeah, very, very wonderful Vaishnava. We're very fortunate to have him. And he, of course, he's the Acharya there in California. He's giving shelter to so many there. Also in China, has many disciples there. Also Mexico. He's one of the founders of our Mexican Ch.Ch. Mat. Also, all of South America, actually, he's been very important. Colombia and Venezuela, many places. And he actually was traveling for years. He learned Spanish. He was traveling for years throughout the whole of Latin America. Okay. Does anyone else want to say anything? Or we stopped. You want to say anything?
I can't think of anything specific, but I just remember how childlike he can also be. In his interactions, he can be very playful and.
Yes, very playful.
He's very playful.
Srila Gurudev also commented on that.
Yeah. So much sweetness in his interactions that way. And when he's even talking to new people, who come to the ashram, he's always meeting them at their level. He's not trying to make errors at all about his position, who he is. He's just very matter of fact, very grounded, and very connecting to people, based on what he really understands about them. And it's always nice to see that. And even with us devotees who are just kind of, not too interested at all about mundane, things. To some degree, I guess we all are, but, he likes to interact with us about things like, the cute cartoon videos he'll watch, or football, or, I think he loves sports, or baseball. He was really into baseball. So I would go into his space sometimes, and he'd just be really into the game and stuff like that. So it was just kind of cool, because then I could start to appreciate all those things too, because when I entered the ashram, I was trying to be very serious. But so there's no criticism I could have about anything, because if he's watching baseball, baseball's cool.
Sriyukta Maharshi told me of this one time when because Ch.Ch. Maharaj had this service, like kind of like as like a guard for Gurudev, like a bodyguard and like looking after things for him. And so there's one time Gurudev was resting in his room, his inner room, and there was some devotees there on the outer space who were within Gurudev's quarters, and it was getting a little noisy, and Janardhan Maharaj was there, and there were a few other devotees, and so Ch.Ch. Maharaj, he was like taking his job like seriously, and I don't remember if he told them all to leave or just like to quiet down, you know, like that. And then some time later, then Gurudev came out, and Ch.Ch. Maharaj told Gurudev something like I told everybody, even Janardhan Maharaj, you know, like I even told Janardhan Maharaj, something like that. And then Gurudev said, but you cannot imagine how pure his heart is. You cannot imagine how pure his heart is. You know, maybe you might see him like in this playful mood, or you know, a little frivolous or something, but you can't imagine like how pure-hearted he is. You know, what kind of a Vaishnava he is. You know, don't underestimate him.
Yeah, don't underestimate
him.
Yeah. You have these moments sometimes when that's very clear.
Yeah.
That he's much higher than you may typically put on.
He hides it.
He does.
Actually,
He
hides it.
It's a kind of
Yeah.
It's a kind of game in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. 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 There can be moments with him where I'm like your jaw drops. You know, like there have been a few occasions in his classes. And it is very funny because he can go in all kinds of directions, and you know, and I can be like Maharaj, like, this is too silly or something, you know.
Right.
Like he'll just like show this whole other thing, you know.
Yeah.
But then there will be other moments where it's like you're crying, you know, and your jaw drops, you know.
Yes.
He can just really hit you in the most profound way. Yeah, other devotees have also expressed that, you know, that same sentiment. It'd be like wow, like, you know, and he also has very deep appreciation for the devotees, you know, like, and not in an external sense, but he has an intuitive appreciation for devotional quality, real devotional quality. And that's something we shouldn't take for granted, actually. Like we saw with Srila Gurudev, like not being impressed by the cover of things.
Mm-hmm.
But like I see Janardhan Maharaj has that quality. He can look through and understand like the real spiritual quality of a devotee. So I appreciate that. Okay, so we're happy to honor him and remember him on this day. Happy day. Jai Shri Bhakti Bhava Vishakha.